Welcome to HomeFree-USA. My name is Milan Griffin, and I'm so very excited to have everyone here today. We are going to get started in just 1 minute, so stay tuned. And again, welcome to today's session, how to make money and impact as a realtor. Stay tuned. We're going to get started in 1 minute. All right, everyone. We have a dynamite session prepared for you today. Again, my name is Milan Griffin with HomeFree-USA. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Outreach. We have some phenomenal speakers here, and I'm going to introduce you to them in just one moment. But just so you know who is on the line, who is here, we have some phenomenal speakers. We have Tammy Bonell, the CEO of Exit Realty, and we have Tasha Lyons, who is a local realtor, a leader in the making here in the DC metropolitan area, and I'm going to bring them on in just a minute. But please, just to let you all know a little bit about HomeFree-USA and what we do and how we support everyone in the home buying and home ownership process, I just want you to look at a real quick video so you can learn a little bit more about HomeFree, and then we're going to get started with today's section, how to make money and impact as a realtor. Why don't you go ahead and start the video.
It never hurts to have someone else have your back. And so that's what HomeFree had for me. They had my back. I went in as a single individual. And so as a single individual, it was nice to have someone else vetting things, looking over things, making sure I was in the right direction and not being taken advantage of or anything of that nature. Owning a home is a lot of work, but the reward in the long run pays off.
All right, everyone. As the short intro video mentioned, HomeFree-USA, we are what you call nonprofit home ownership advisors, and it is our job to guide home buyers through the home buying process and to work with homeowners to help them to work with their mortgage and make the right decisions with their mortgage so that they can sustain home ownership. But what we do at HomeFree-USA would not be possible if it wasn't for some dynamic partners in the industry, one of which is Exit Realty International, and a special shout out to Exit Mid-Atlantic because working together, HomeFree-USA is nonprofit home ownership advisors, as well as working with our lender partners, our mortgage lender partners, and working with our realtor partners through Exit and others. We are able to work together to increase home ownership and impact lives. And so today we're bringing everyone on the line. I want to give a shout out to our Center for Financial Advancement Scholars. They're on the line. These are students we work with from HBCUs. I want to give a shout out to our home buyers who are on the line.
I think Milan's screen is frozen. She's giving a shout out to the Center for Financial Advancement.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep.
For a minute.
Shout out to our CFA scholars. Shout out to our national affiliates who are on the call from HomeFree-USA's affiliated network. Shout out to anyone else that I missed. Do know everybody is welcome, and we're so excited to have you today on today's session, how to make money and impact as a real estate agent. And so again, but as we open up our session, I want to bring on Tasha Lyons. She is a realtor who works with HomeFree-USA. She's also a real estate agent with Exit, and she works with Exit Community Realty, who I love, George Bryant. Shout out to George Bryant and his team. But Tasha, as we delve into the topic, and we're going to bring on our CEO, Tammy Bonell, in just a moment, But as we delve into the topic, how to make money and impact as a real estate agent, tell us a little bit about how you got into this field, and what do you love most about the field? What do you love most about being a real estate agent?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Milan, for having me, first of all, and amongst all of the wonderful panelists. So I got into real estate because I was actually helping a friend who was a realtor already. And I was helping her do administrative work and stuff like that. And so she, why don't you become a real estate agent? And I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this works. I went and took the class, passed the course, and became a real estate agent. And I want to tell you, it's like the best thing that I could have ever done. Like, I'm so grateful that she even, suggested that I go out and try to take the course and become a realtor. The thing I love most about this industry is not only the financial gain that I got from it, but the fact that I can help homeowners achieve a goal, especially first-time home buyers, achieve a goal, something as big as purchasing a home, all while, making money doing it. So that's the joy I get out of it, is helping.
And what advice would you give to, well, let me ask you two questions. One is, how long have you been in this business?
So I've actually been in the business for 5 years. And I've been with Exit Realty the entire 5 years. I love Exit. It's a family cultured brokerage. I love it. So I've been in it for 5 years, and the first, I would say 5 actively doing real estate, but 2 years prior to that, I was assisting, like I said, with my friend with with her real estate business and assisting her. So collectively 7 years.
Awesome. And so what advice would you give to those on the line, whether they are students or, full-time professionals? What advice would you give to anyone out there who is thinking about becoming a real estate? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say go for it if you are interested in it. And the thing is, I started out as a dual career agent. I actually do hair as well. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. So being a full-time cosmetologist, as well as having the flexibility of becoming a real estate agent, the flexibility and the time that you can, that you have with the two mixing, I feel like this is a really, really good industry to have a dual career. Someone who, has a full-time job, you can also do real estate and still make a lucrative business for yourself doing both.
Excellent. And last question for you, Tasha, which is, we see, and you've been really clear about the benefits of being a realtor and how it has meshed so well with your full-time job, and you've been able to really make impact and some extra money as a real estate agent. Let's flip the coin a little bit. What advice would you give to home buyers that are on the line? Many people are on the line and they are tired of renting, but they may not have actually thought about buying a home just yet. And many people want to buy a home, but they're so scared with all that's going on with COVID. So Tasha, what piece of advice would you give to our home buyers who are on the line or would-be home buyers as to why now is possibly a good time to move forward?
That's an excellent question, Milan. I work with a lot of, my specialty is first-time home buyers, and a lot of them are nervous to take the step of home ownership because they're comfortable with, renting. And I stress to them all the time, if you have the funds to pay $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 in rent, you should definitely be purchasing and spend that money on your own property instead of giving a landlord that money, So I would suggest to them to just take that first step and to see where you stand when it comes to home ownership. You may be scared, like my credit is not, up to par, and, but take that first step. Let's see where you are. Let's see where you stand. And, let's get you to your goal of home ownership. If you need to take those extra steps to get your scores up, then, let's do that. But the main thing that I would say is to just take that step to see where you stand, because it's very beneficial in the end.
Excellent. Take the first step. So thank you, Tasha, so very much. I'm going to bring on my wonderful, wonderful co-host, if you will, Gwen Garnett. She is going to transition the conversation. Thank you so much, Tasha. She is going to transition the conversation to bring on our featured speaker, and Gwen is going to carry the charge in interviewing our featured speaker, Tammy Bonnell. So Gwen, just a quick piece about Gwen. Gwen is the director and the leader of our Center for Financial Advancement program. So HomeFree-USA, we've been in business for now 26 years. We just had our birthday on July 11th. And through that time, about 5 years ago, we birthed our baby, if you will, which is growing leaps and bounds. And that baby was called, or is called, the Center for Financial Advancement. And this is a program that we have at 5 HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities across the country, preparing the students for financial savviness, financial awareness, and to look at and exposing them to careers in the mortgage and real estate finance industry. So Gwen Garnett does an excellent job of leading this conversation, leading this program, and she is going to bring and talk to Tammy Bonnell, who is our esteemed featured speaker today, and Tammy's going to tell us, and especially our students on the line and others, the power of being a real estate agent. Take it away, Gwen.
Thank you, Milan. And I'd ask that all of our speakers mute your line. Tammy, leave yours open because I hear a little bit of feedback. And guys, in this virtual world, we know anything can happen with technology, so just ride with us. Thank you, Tammy, for being with us. And also, students, I see you. I've scrolled through and I see who's on the line. So kudos to you, and get the rest of your buddies to join us as well. Tammy Bonnell is the CEO of Exit Realty International. She'll tell you more about that. We won't spend a lot of time going into bios. She can tell her story. And guys, we always say take notes, because be ready for questions towards the end. So Tammy, thank you for being with us today. And I'm gonna start out this conversation by asking you, tell us your story. How in the world did you get into real estate? Because very few people, maybe when they're little kids, say, I want to be a real estate agent. So tell us about your journey.
You know what? I was actually always interested in real estate, and I was fascinated by it forever. My dad was a developer. He developed commercial property, so I used to beg to ride with him to go and see him on the planning board when he got things approved. And he was definitely one of those people that made it and lost it several times. So we sometimes had steak for dinner and sometimes we had breakfast for dinner, right? But I always loved just being around it. And I'm a daughter of Irish immigrants. And so work ethic was the biggest thing that we probably all got out of that family dynamic. And so I was cleaning houses, actually 11, 12, 13 years old, cleaning houses. And I found that cleaning on site for builders, I could go from house to house I could be dropped off and go from house to house instead of figuring out how to drive around. And I was actually cleaning a house, scraping the windows, and a realtor came in to do a final walkthrough for the house. And the wall between the kitchen and the dining room was actually supposed to be open. It was supposed to be more open than it was. And there was a wall there. So there was a lot of screaming and yelling, and I'm sitting in the window scraping, going, please make me invisible. And they stormed out, and the builder was so frustrated, he put his fist through the wall. And I said, I think you broke your hand. And he said, drive me to the hospital. And he did break his hand. And yes, I wasn't old enough to drive, but I had lied about my age to get the job. And so on the way back and forth, he was complaining about how good people were at listing and selling real estate and how everybody was making mistakes. And I asked him, how hard is it? And one of the things that I think is the best advice I can give everybody on the line is watch for opportunities. My dad said that all the time, just watch for opportunities. And so I had a conversation with him, and it turned out that I got paid $500 a house starting at that age. And I worked for him on Saturdays and Sundays. And I got my real estate license the day I turned 18. You have to be at least 18 years old to get your real estate license, and continued with that. And it actually helped me go through school. So, but I loved the back room better than I loved the front room. I loved how everything worked and making businesses work. So for the last 30 plus years, I was instrumental in building 3 major brands, and then obviously coming over to Exit.
You took something that was your passion, even early on, and two things I heard you say: work ethic is so critical, and then seize the opportunity when opportunity presents itself. You may not even be looking for it, and all of a sudden it pops up. So talk to us about, there are aspiring homeowners on the line. There are people who want to get into real estate that are listening as well. So what are the three most important things that the potential homeowner or the potential real estate agent needs to know?
Well, first, let's start with the potential homeowner. Number one, you need to know what you can afford. So going through a mortgage approval process is first and foremost. Going through a mortgage approval process, knowing what your credit score is, so that if you need to do things to boost up your credit score, you can. But it's so important to know what you can afford so that you can start looking in the right direction. Be really aware of having it make sense for you. It's always a good idea to be able to know the distance between work and where you're going to live, because you don't want to do something that you're sorry for later. But it's the best investment that any person can make in building true wealth. So find out about the finances first, find out about your credit, and then find a really good realtor. Obviously, Tasha's doing incredibly well. Find a really good realtor that is going to represent you and really personalize things to you specifically. We're drowning in data. The consumer is drowning in data, but they're starving for knowledge. How does this impact me? How is this going to impact me and my life on having the opportunity to purchase? So finding somebody good that's going to be in your corner and help you, that's definitely next on the list. As far as people in real estate, interested in getting into real estate, the first thing you need is knowledge, and you need it in a few layers. And this is going back to watching for opportunity. Number one, if you want to have the 30,000 foot view, so you want to have that big picture like realtor.org, Inman News, Wall Street Journal, have that big picture of where trends are happening, because that might be the one window of opportunity that you want to see. You want to have the street level view of understanding the area that you're going to represent, so that you understand about real estate and you understand what's available and what the average sales price is and all that sort of stuff. But more importantly, you want to understand two other things, and that's understanding what you're really good at, so that you can focus on the things that you have for a skill set in order to help somebody, and deliver that message to them in a way that you can help them. But the last piece of that puzzle is really getting to know the consumer incredibly well. You need to know them, and so that you can personalize it to them. There are people move because of their circumstances. Some people are moving into their very first home, becoming first-time home buyers. Some people are having families so that they need to expand where they are. It's an incredible tax benefit, obviously, home ownership, but it's also a great way to build wealth. The second thing you need from a person going into real estate, other than your accurate market knowledge and understanding people, you need to have good, steady, consistent habits, that good work ethic of consistently working on your business so that you're focused going forward. And the third thing, which I find is the biggest weakness for a lot of people today, is distractions. You've got to dedicate some dedicated time to learning your craft and working your craft. You've got to dedicate some steady, consistent time in order to be able to do that. But it's an amazing business to be in. You help people with the number one dream, which is homeownership.
And we know, and one of the things that we teach our students is that building wealth, especially for people of color, homeownership is the best way of doing that. And how wonderful it is to be a realtor and be able to help others realize that dream as well. To continue on the thread that we were just talking about, what are the most critical skills or innate abilities that a person needs to have if they really want to be a successful real estate agent? Sometimes we might think our major, if you're in school, doesn't fit that industry, but it's really not major dependent. It's really about the person. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. So you need to have empathy, right? You have to be able to understand people, and you need to have empathy in order to do this, which obviously is a skill set that you want to have internally. There's no doubt that that is a really important piece of this puzzle. But you also have to have some really good tech skills. The person that is going to be high touch and high tech is going to be the person that's going to excel. We have people that have majored in finance, people that have majored in psychology that do incredibly well. So it doesn't have to necessarily even be what your major is. A lot of people are actually even doing it while still in school so that they can really learn a tremendous amount about it and see if that's really the direction they want to go in. But mixing that high tech and high touch is key to succeeding.
You mentioned that you paid your way through school selling real estate. And
I absolutely did.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how did you balance the studying and the getting the knowledge and really working your craft? How did you do that?
You have to block off time, and you have to be really consistent about blocking off that time. So, and that's really the issue with distraction, right? People get on, all of a sudden they're on their cell phone and they're going down that slippery slope, and now they're on Amazon, and now they're on social media, and they're not getting away. You really have to book off blocks of time, and it's better to book off those blocks so that I had a block of time that I was doing homework, but I also had a block of time that I was doing real estate. The good news about real estate is an awful lot of it happens on weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays when you're not in school, that's a great opportunity for open houses and showings and working with people, because other people are typically working on Monday to Friday. So whether you're in school or you're at work, a lot of people even doing it as a second career until they make enough money so that they can do it as a full-time career. That turns out to be a great opportunity as well. But blocking off time is so important.
Focus. Yeah, follow one course until successful, right? So two final questions. I know there, and the last one's going to be about exit the company. I know there's a lot of individuals who have real estate investing in their mind as another stream of income to build. And there's often the questions, how soon do I start? How can I get into it? What's a smart real estate investment to make? So talk to us about that.
Well, you know, it depends on where you are geography-wise on what would be the best investment for you to make. And people invest for different reasons, right? I always say, have a kid, buy a condo, so that by the time they turn 18, you can help them go through school, right? But people are investing in, and that's another thing that we're really seeing a strong trend in, is that there are multiple people actually investing in the same property, you know, a few people investing so they can at least get their start. It is a great way to build wealth, and it is in fact, the majority of people in this country, that is their biggest source of wealth is real estate. So it's a great opportunity to be able to invest, but do your homework. Do your homework on what's available. Right now, single family rentals are doing incredibly well. Multifamilies are doing incredibly well. The rents are really high. That's why a lot of the potential homeowners that are on the line, if they can pay that rent, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 a month, they can probably qualify for a mortgage. And if they're putting that much into a mortgage, they're tax deducting that interest so that it actually turns into a better financial benefit, but they're also building equity into their life. And so some people like to fix and flip. If you do not have the skill set, I don't recommend it at all. For people that don't have the skill set, for people that do, it's a great thing. But a lot of people watch a tremendous amount of television shows and think it's going to be incredibly simple. Most people, though, that are really successful in investing, they buy and hold so that they can rent it out. And whether they're doing, you know, vacation rentals, or they're doing single family rentals, or even multifamily. And that's another opportunity for people to get into home ownership, that they can own, and maybe they buy a 2-family or a 3-family, and the rent from the other properties helps and gives them a start to get into this.
Excellent. So last question, and this last question will answer some of the questions are coming in on my phone. They're coming in on the chat. They're coming in, which is great to see. Tell us what's unique about Exit Realty. I know you invest a lot in training and education, but what's unique about Exit Realty?
So I'm going to give you 7 things, and I'll give them to you really quick. But These are the top 7 things that top producing agents want. And what we did was we made sure that the agents, because those are the people that are doing the work on the street, that they're the assets of this organization. So number 1, agents want education. They want to keep going and growing with education. So we provide education, webinars, techinars, live interactive. I got my license now. What do I do? All the way to consummate professionals making millions of dollars. We provide steady, consistent education. Number 2, they want leadership. So we have leaders that are regional owners, like you mentioned, Exit Mid-Atlantic. We have great leaders in our brokerages, and we actually teach leadership because we want our agents to be leaders in their community. So leadership is definitely part of the equation. Number 3, they want help with technology. So we provide techinars, we provide technology education. We actually have our own tech tools and our own tech team. We even have a technology specialist that speaks English, Spanish, and technology, and she is Vice President of Technology Engagement, and so that she teaches agents and brokers how to utilize tools to actually serve the consumer better. Number 4, they want help with the details. So everything that we create with that idea of single entry, simple to use, user-friendly, so that our agents can be in front of people and our brokers can be in front of their agents, so that it'll save them time and have them have the ability to touch more people. Number 5, they want a marketing program they can track so that they know what's working, what's not, and they know where to invest their time. And number 6, they want image. So our image and our mindset is the smartest real estate company. We really want to add value. And number 7, they want to have skin in the game. They want to have a vested interest. So our company is very unique. We provide residual income. An agent is an asset, and agents are the people that produce. So any of our agents, if they introduce, and it can be an agent or a broker, if they introduce somebody into the company, as a thank you from corporate headquarters, they receive the equivalent of 10% of the gross commission, up to $10,000 a year, every year, for as long as that agent's is with Exit. And they can introduce anyone anywhere in North America that we have an office. As good as that is, when they retire, benefits like real people with real jobs, so that they're not just on straight commission, they receive 7% in retirement so that they can actually afford to retire, because that hasn't existed in the real estate industry. The other 3% goes to the brokerage, because we want the brokerage to have a ballast. But we even took it a step further, and we thought about their family. And if I die, my beneficiary makes 5% of that income for as long as those people are with the company, even after I'm gone. The other 5% goes to the brokerage, because we want them to be profitable too, right? We want them to be prosperous too. But that's a great opportunity for everybody to create a mentoring culture within the office, because everybody feels like they're part of a family and they all want to share and help each other.
Talked about some powerful things that creates a culture, and there was some key words, and residual income is the next wonder of the world that a lot of people really don't think a lot about. So that's one, guys, take notes and do some research on residual income and retirement. I know at a young age, we might not be thinking about retirement. That's so critical. I had to put my glasses on so I could see the questions in chat. So sorry about the glare. And then creating legacy for your family. That's also something that's very unusual. So those were key things. One of the questions is, how does a person get licensed? And how did you get your license? What should a person do if they want to get licensed?
Every state has classes and has schools, so all you have to do is literally look it up and find the closest school that's most beneficial for you. And there are a lot of the classes that, depending on the state that you live on, that you can actually take those courses online to be able to take the test. And so it teaches you all the laws in your individual state so that you can pass. It's doesn't take years. It's actually a pretty great process. And once you go through and get the training and get your license, you definitely want to connect with somebody that's going to be able to really mentor you so that you get out of the gate really quick.
Very good. What about, this is a good one. Are there any opportunities for students to work with your companies? Like they're ready to start like now, so. Absolutely.
We have more than 600 offices, and so there's a great opportunity, and there are plenty around where the schools that you're training, where you're training everybody are. So it's a terrific opportunity for them to be able to come on board.
Okay, now we have some questions that are related to people that are, one is like, how do you decide if you're, I guess this is somebody interested on the buying side, how do you decide where you look for property if you want to invest, or even if you want to buy a home? Where should you look?
Well, I think that's when you really want to have a conversation with a real estate professional. And the reason you want to do that is because they can personalize things directly to you so that they can help you. Their job, I always say, be the solution, right? Value equals income. So they're going to want to provide that added value. I have a close friend that told me that she wanted to invest in real estate and she wanted to fix and flip homes. And this is a woman that doesn't paint her own fingernails, doesn't clean her own house, doesn't even grocery shop herself. So she's not going to be a fix and flip kind of person. But as we had conversations, she's a single mom. And as we had conversations, she's in a district that the school systems are excellent, but the divorce rate is about 50%. So I said, why don't you help other people that want to still stay in this community with their kids for school and invest in condominiums? So she actually owns 40 of them now. But, if she had been in front of the wrong person having a conversation, she would have tried to fix and flip, and she'd still be laying down on the floor trying to figure out how to nail linoleum, right? So it's determining how much time are you going to invest this? Are you going to just invest money that you want to keep building up equity and collecting rent? What type of investing you want to do. And so a real estate professional can ask you enough effective questions to really figure out what that opportunity. I know that I have some kids that, my own children, that invested near universities because they knew that there would be a great opportunity for them to be able to do rentals, and that those rentals would always be available. But talk to a professional so you can find out what's going to make the most sense for you personally based on what your circumstances are.
And the last point you just made, because several students have brought that up about wanting to come together and partnership and buy around universities because they know there's always going to be a need for housing. Being a realtor is being your own boss in essence, right? Because you're working on commission. So one of the questions is, while paying for school through selling houses, did you ever hit a financial wall? And not only in school, just in general.
Oh, I've hit financial walls before. Sure, I think everybody does. There's been times when, you have a recession and you didn't expect that recession, but every time it's, what do I need to learn from this? What do I need to learn from this so that I can get better? But there's something magical about knowing that I can control my own income. If I'm working on commission, I can control my own income by my work ethic. And that is so important. And one of the great things about real estate is even through COVID-19, real estate sells all the time. People move because of their circumstances. So we have people that are moving away from cities and moving more into the country because they feel like they'll be safer. Some of them because they're going to be satelliting from home. And so their circumstances have changed. And now they want a home office and they want to buy a bigger house that's a little further out from the city because maybe they're only going to commute once or twice, right? They're not going to do it as often. You definitely want to make sure that you put money away. My suggestion for everybody, and you get better and better at it as you go, but you want to put 10%, invest 10% of your income, save 10% of your income, and I always give back 10% of my income so that I know that there's steady money that's growing. Don't spend everything you make.
And those are important tips that we incorporate in our overall curriculum with CFA, that savings, that investment, and especially the giving back. So how many years of experience does one need to become a broker? And explain the difference between broker and realtor, because there's
okay. So a real estate agent, they get a license and they're licensed to list and sell real estate. A real estate broker can actually open up a brokerage and be responsible for the agents that are there. And it really depends on the state you live in on how many years. For most of the country, you have to be in real estate for a couple of years before you can go and take the exam and get your broker's license. You need to have that experience under your belt. But you can check within your own state to find out with the Real Estate Commission just how long it takes to become a broker.
Okay. So what about the National Association of Realtors are? And is it required to be a member? Is it mandatory as a realtor to be a part of NAR? It's
not mandatory, but I highly recommend it. There are a tremendous amount of resources for what you spend to become a member. They have a political action committee so that they actually fight for rights for fair housing. They represent and are fair housing is really important, but there are a lot of member benefits too, a combination of education and trade shows, and even being able to save on things like health insurance and being able to save on things that'll help you to do your job. So I definitely think it's worth the investment.
Okay, so what's the best way to choose which realty company you work for? That's a loaded question, right? But
well, I think people are looking for.
Go ahead.
I think people are looking for leadership. So you want to make sure that you find a a broker or an office that's going to get the most and the best out of you. Ask them some effective questions on what's available for training and what is their process for onboarding, so that you really have an opportunity to start well. Unfortunately, there are some brokerages out there that they don't provide any training, and you're kind of left on an island by yourself, and you don't want to be in that circumstance, because there's still a learning curve. Getting your license means you understand the laws, but it doesn't teach you how to sell real estate and represent people and be able to help. So you want to be with a company that definitely provides education, and you want to make sure that you have some leadership in that organization, so that that's somebody that can spend time with you. In fact, the top 3 reasons people leave a company is because they feel like their broker doesn't have time for them. They feel like their broker can't help them, so they're not staying ahead of the curve on what's going on and where the opportunities are right now. And number 3, and it's often number 1, they want to really feel part of a business family. They want to feel like they belong to and be part of something better.
As I listen to you, Tammy, you really take care of the whole person, the totality. It's not just a transaction. And that's good to hear, and that's why you have such a strong culture. Do you offer real estate classes? Does Exit offer classes?
Some of our offices offer classes, where each office is independently owned and operated, but some of our offices do offer courses for people to be able to get their license. In fact, several of our, I would say the majority of our offices have something, or can point you in exactly the right direction so that you can get the education. But, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. Our company was literally, we were built on this company. Our entire decision was to build this company on human potential, to help people become better in every facet of their life, not just their business.
And when that's the foundation of who you are, your businesses will grow and be successful, just like HomeFree is, and same with your company. That culture and that heart makes a big, big difference. Now, this is a pretty long question, but I'm going to go through it. How does the business work as a listing agent for new properties? And would you start as a buying consultant for brand new properties, or would it be a company to list different properties? And then the last part, so working under builders like Pulte or Dries or others are being listing agents under Exit Realty or Keller. So I think they're trying to figure out, and this is from a student, from the working with a listing company, builders, how does all that work? Well,
it depends on the state you're in. I'm from Massachusetts. We lovingly call it Taxachusetts, but it was actually legal to work on site for builders without a real estate license, so that you would represent maybe a new subdivision. But in most states, they require a real estate license. Working with a builder, if they have a tremendous amount of inventory, there's a definite shortage of inventory in new construction. But look at what your skill set is, because that's really the most important thing. In order to be able to sell new construction, and I can tell you because I did it, you really need to understand how the house is built, and you need to understand being able to paint a picture for somebody about what this can become. I can't tell you the number of times I'd had agents walk in and be like, "Where's the kitchen?" I'd be like, "Look for pipes," you know, because they didn't really understand the picture and they couldn't paint that picture. But in a brokerage, you have a choice. You can represent listings or you can represent buyers. Listings, there's an awful lot of spin-off business from. But to even get your feet wet and work for somebody, even going in and getting started by working on someone's team, so that maybe there's somebody in that office that's a listing machine and they have a team, and so that you can actually be a buyer's representative for that person and be mentored at the same time. All of those are tremendous options. It's just deciding where is my skill set and where would it best be utilized.
Okay, we're going to take a few more questions, and guys, I don't know if I'll get to all of them. But one is, can you be licensed in multiple states?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. And I assume you have an Exit office in Memphis, because that's one of the questions somebody wants to find.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and then another one, when you think about all the skills that you have gained working in this industry, what would you say has been most valuable outside of what you naturally had as an innate ability? What skill did you acquire working as a real estate agent that you have sharpened?
Well, obviously, I'm the CEO of a company now, so that I'm not listing and selling real estate, but probably the biggest thing was really being able to see windows of opportunity. So I could see a trend a lot quicker than a lot of other people. And obviously, if you're ahead of that curve, you get great opportunities. And that's absolutely one of my skill sets even here. Part of my job is to be a good forecaster, right? To help our people to do better. And so I can typically see a trend more in advance than a lot of people. So that's been a really great skill set. But that consistency, if you work towards anything for a period of time, you know, they have that magic number of 10,000 hours. You work at something steadily for a considerable amount of time and you keep educating yourself ongoing, you'll excel at this business. And, you know, it doesn't matter what your skill set is. If your skill set is, and I don't mean it doesn't matter, but we all have different personality profiles. So there are people that are paying attention right now that are people. And so they might not be as good with the details. So they really need to have some good technology to back them up so that they can take care of the details. They can build a personal connection, but they want to make sure the details are handled. But there are also other people that are great with the details and are incredibly effective at being able to sell property, but maybe they're not as personable. And it's okay to say that to somebody, right? Hey, this is where my skill set is, and this is why I believe I'm the best suited to be able to help you through this venture.
So what marketing materials can you use to build a client base, to build your real estate business? And do you offer a kind of a referral tool already, or is it up to the agent to find their own client base?
We have a really high agent-to-agent, office-to-office referral network. So our people actually refer things, and we even send referrals that come into our web, and we don't keep any of it. We just send it directly to the offices where those offices are located. But we also have amazing technology. So we, especially thinking of COVID-19, right? We have a mobile business card. So if you text 85377 and in the message punch in TAMI and hit send, you're going to get my mobile business card. Now you don't have to touch a business card, but that now my information is in your phone so that you can reach somebody in an instant. And a lot of times when people want to buy something or they see something, they want it right away. We also have smart sign technology so that if you pull up in front of a listing and you text exit 85377 and punch in EXIT into that listing, you're going to get the listing information on an exit listing. And if you have one of our people that has a unique vanity code that you're working with one of those agents, you can actually pull in front of any listing and get the information. And that's provided a lot of saving grace for people that didn't want to go in. Maybe they look at 10 houses from the outside and they get the listing sent to them, but they only want to go into 2 because those are the 2 they've narrowed it down to. Now they have much less exposure as far as risk goes. We provide a tremendous amount of marketing materials for our people, because we want to help them to save money, but we also want them to excel at what they do.
A question was asked, would you share your card information again, slower?
Sure. So you text 85377, and in the message, just punch in TAMI, that's my first name, and hit send, and my mobile business card will be sent to your phone. When you get the card, if you push the black button, I'll actually go into your contacts. And you'll be able to see my face and ways to reach me.
Thank you. And I see some of your exit colleagues are out here on the chat answering questions as well as we go back and forth.
That's great.
They're really interesting. So can you work for 2 different brokers at the same time? Just curious. That's come up several times in the Q&A, I'm noticing.
You typically work for one broker.
Yeah, that's what, not knowing that much about it, that would be the answer for sure. You're working with one. Okay. And then the other question in terms of buying right now, and this was something that for those who are potential homeowners, is this a good time to buy? Because people are, you know, skittish because of COVID. You know, what should I do? What's your thought on that?
Well, I think that it's always a good time to invest in real estate. It's just making the right decision for you. It's always a good time. You know, this didn't slow down the real estate industry. It's probably off by about 10% because people were fearful to go out, but now there's so much protection. They have gloves, they have masks, they know how to sanitize homes for people to be able to go in. So it's always a great opportunity to be able to have a vested interest in something so that you can actually build from that.
So one of the things, and I want to summarize, and Milan, I'm going to bring you back in so we can get ready to wrap up. It would be interesting for us to think about, you know, how do we create something, maybe even a pipeline with our students, and we can talk about that later. because that is that's something that there's a lot of interest in this space in real estate. And as we go through our curriculum, maybe there's something we can do along the way to work towards that. So we'll figure that out. But
That'd be wonderful.
In terms of your closing words, what would you say that would be if you're talking to the homeowner, or if you're talking to somebody who's a potential realtor, whether it may be a second career, or if you're talking to a student, what would be your closing words you would share with them? And then Milan will come back on.
Well, I think that everybody, the most important thing is to do your homework, right? So for a homeowner, potential homeowner, I want to do the homework so I know exactly what I can afford. I know where my credit sits, and I know how that's going to impact myself and my family, and I'm going to talk to a professional about it. From somebody looking at getting into real estate, be realistic about what you have available for time. You know, it's definitely a full-time profession for most, but you can break into it and work towards something, but you have to be realistic about the time that you have available, because you definitely are going to have a learning curve, you know, as you come into it. And I think people in real estate, even when you get your real estate license, you should make sure that you connect with, I always tell everybody, have a dozen people that work on the business, not in it. Appraisers, home inspectors, mortgage companies, insurance companies, you know, just like people that work with HomeFree-USA, so that you know what all the options are out there, so that you can serve the consumer to the best of your ability, and you're aware of any issues they could possibly run into, so that you can really educate them on the best possibilities for them.
Something you just said made me think about the importance of networking, because building and networking is the foundation of any business that you're in. And whether you're a potential homeowner, or especially someone who want to get in this industry, that's critical. Tammy, thank you so much. This has been very eye-opening for a lot. And guys, I think we got to most of the questions, but we want to make sure we honor our time. And I'm going to turn it back over to Milan. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So as Gwen stated, thank you so much, Tammy. It's truly a pleasure to have you. And before we depart, just bless us with one more piece of advice. You mentioned some of this while you were talking to Gwen, but as I asked Tasha, and if you could shed light on the same question, for those who are thinking, just wrapping our conversation up, for those who are thinking about stepping into real estate, we have many people who are seasoned professionals on the phone, and we have many people who are current college students. So what piece of advice would you give to those who are thinking about going into real estate, may be apprehensive? What piece of advice would you give to them?
I think that going in and having an interview and talking to a real estate professional, talking to a broker, and finding out exactly what's entailed, so you are aware ahead of time of what it is that you're signing up for and what you're getting into. Find out about getting your real estate license, and be realistic about what it is that you have available for time. Always remember, value equals income. Regardless of what it is I do for a living, the more value I provide, and even if it's not specifically to somebody I'm going to sell to, but if I'm adding value all the time, look, that's what you guys are doing with HomeFree-USA. That's what you're doing with the webinars, right? Value equals income. The more value we add to everybody in the community, the better off we're all going to be. And so you've got to remember, that's add value to every single person that you get in front of.
And I appreciate you saying that, because so often I hear folks saying, I want to be a realtor. And I think sometimes folks think it's a lot easier than it is. But the value proposition is so important, and really being dedicated to this business and seeing yourself as a change agent, because you are that. And I do have to give another shout out to Exit, because we work at HomeFree-USA. We work with many Exit realtors. Many Exit realtors trust us to work with their clients, to help their clients get mortgage ready and approved. And so I appreciate Exit, because it's very clear that as a company, you all put customers first. And it radiates, that culture radiates to the realtors that you have on board. And that even comes through with the amount of focus and attention realtors have in working with HomeFree to get their clients mortgage ready. And so our last piece of advice, our last jewel, if you can share, Tammy, is for all of our buyers on the line, all those folks, even those in college who may be working, who may be able to afford to buy. What piece of advice would you give to our prospective home buyers as to why now is the time to move towards home ownership?
interest rates are phenomenal right now, right? They're absolutely phenomenal. They're about the best they've been in I don't know how long. So truly find out exactly what you're qualified for, get qualified for a mortgage, know what your credit is, and then you can start making that dream an actual reality. You know, knowledge is power. You know, the more you know about what your opportunities are and what the possibilities are, the less frightening this becomes.
Excellent. So with that said, knowledge is power, and knowledge used is powerful. We thank you so much, Tammy, for shedding and sharing a lot of knowledge onto us today about how to make money, get into the real estate industry, how to make money and impact as a real estate agent. For everyone on the line, we still have questions coming in, but I'm going to share our contact information at HomeFree-USA in just a moment. You can call us and we can give you some one-on-one attention. Tammy, thank you again. Everybody, please stay with us. Shakira, why don't we go ahead and launch our polls? We want to just quickly know before we close up who is on the line. So Shakira, please launch our first poll. Who is on the line? Again, we gave a shout out to our home buyers on the line, our HomeFree-USA affiliates, but just go ahead and click on the poll real quick and let us know, are you a home buyer? Are you one of our HomeFree-USA affiliates? Are you a home owner, mortgage lender, realtor, renter, none of the above, all of the above? Just let us know. Do the quick poll. We're just going to give it a couple more seconds. And again, it's always a pleasure to serve each and every one of you all. HomeFree-USA, we're nonprofit homeownership advisors working alongside and partnering with players and superpowers, if you will, in the mortgage and real estate industry, such as Exit. And so we appreciate the partnership. Let us know who's on the line. Let's go to the next poll. How did you hear about this webinar? Did you hear about the webinar on Facebook, through HomeFree-USA email, Instagram, LinkedIn, word of mouth, none of the above, all the above? Go ahead and just tell us, how did you hear about this webinar? Because we want to make sure that we continue to speak to you in areas in which you are listening to us. So let us know how you heard about the webinar. And do know this will be recorded. This is recorded. This also is streaming live on Facebook, but we're going to send you a copy of this recording. So please stay tuned for that. Let's go to the next poll question. Let's go to the next poll question. As we end up on this webinar, next poll question is, how would you rate this session? How would you rate this session? Would you say it was very informative, somewhat informative, not informative? Hopefully it's very informative. And if you all have any additional reviews that you would like to make about this session or any of the sessions you've attended with HomeFree and your experience with HomeFree, feel free to go to Google, leave us a Google review, Facebook, tell your friends, family, because we have sessions like this coming up weekly. Let's go to our last poll. And with our last poll, for everyone on the line, how would you like to schedule a free mortgage assessment, or would you like to schedule a free mortgage assessment? And let me just tell you a little bit about this. This is a time, if you're looking to buy a home, we can just have a quick conversation and get you on the road to home ownership. If you are already working with a realtor and you're already working with a lender and you're in the process, but you may be looking for some down payment and closing cost assistance, some additional funding, or you need to get your down payment certificate, call us. We can schedule a free mortgage assessment with you, and we'll give you our contact information. And if you are just a person who feels like they have their home ownership pieces together, you want to find a good realtor, or you're just looking to get contact information for some of the brokers that we have referred to on this line. We have some great brokers that we work with, and we can refer you to the heads of the Exit Mid-Atlantic region, or to where you are in the country. But call us, let us know if you want a free mortgage assessment, and we can go ahead and reach out to you and schedule that. So let's go ahead and close the poll. Again, for everyone on the line, as we wrap up, it is just always phenomenal to have you here. Please know that we are working together with Exit Realty. If you have any mortgage or money questions, you want to get in touch with some of the folks that we have referred to today, any of the Exit brokers that are in the DC metropolitan region or the Mid-Atlantic region or nationally, give us a call or email us, and then we will get you over to Exit. If you're looking to buy a home, we will help you as well. But just go ahead and give us a call and we can connect you. And there have been some excellent links that have been shared in the chat box as well about links that you can go to get in contact with Exit to learn more about Exit. So again, look in the chat, look for some of the links that were shared, and I am providing the contact information for HomeFree-USA, HomeFree-USA at HomeFree-USA.org. This is our phone number, 855-493-4002. If you have personal questions related to getting yourself geared up for homeownership, or if you're already on the path to homeownership and you're looking for a great realtor, we have many people like Tasha that we work with. Or if you just want some information about how to best connect with Exit so that you can move forward in your pursuit as a realtor, give us a ring and we'll connect you with those at Exit who can take you to the next step. So without further ado, thank you again to Tasha Lyons for joining us today. Thank you again to Tammy Bunnell for joining us today. Thank you to the whole Exit International Corporation. Thank you to Exit Mid-Atlantic for always being a partner as we pursue our commitment to educating our community. For everyone on the line, join us on July 21st. I'm getting my dates down. Join us on July 21st for our next session called Money Moves, a winner's guide to multiple streams of income. Join us. That's going to be on July 21st. Money Moves, a winner's guide to multiple streams of income. We will be in touch with you. We will send you an email with this recording. And here's our contact information. Again, many of you all have questions. If you could not get them answered, no problem. Give us a ring. We appreciate your time. We wish you just a wonderful day, and we hope that you leave this session inspired to do bigger and better things in your financial and personal life, and professional life, of course. Thank you, and have a great day.